Ethical AI, separating fact from fad. I'm Tonya Hall, and joining me is Sheldon Fernandez, CEO of DarwinAI. Welcome, Sheldon.
Good to be here.
Give us a summary of your professional background, if you will, and explain what DarwinAI does.
So I'll start with the first question. So I did an engineering degree as an undergrad, and then I also did a theology degree as my master's, really out of interest, never thinking it would be significant in my professional life, and all of a sudden finding out that it's very relevant to my work at DarwinAI. DarwinAI, we basically have technology that allows people to crack open the black box that's very central to the industry, and are trying to help enterprises build AI they can trust.
As someone with a deep training in both engineering and theology, how do you separate fact from fad to ensure that AI systems behave ethically?
Yeah, it's a great question and a challenging one at that. The faddish parts of ethical AI is the claim that it's a simple problem. That if you simply have enough diverse opinions that are contributing to the notion of how AI should behave, that alone will solve the problem of getting AI to behave ethically. And it's a good start, but I term it as a fad because there's a lot of chatter around that particular goal without an understanding of the underlying complexity of these systems and how hard it is to get them behaving in a certain way, let alone an ethically prescribed way. So the reality behind that is that these AI systems are black boxes, which is we don't know how they reach the conclusions they reach. And that is a precursor to the problem of getting AI to behave ethically. And so understanding and embracing that complexity is a very important element of ethical AI as we understand it.
Explain the trolley problem and the dilemma it poses for AI-based systems.
So the trolley problem is a great way that ethicists, as well as engineers, try to codify the ethical problems that an AI must grapple with. So the trolley car problem is, if a trolley car going down a railway track, it's going to kill 5 people. You can flip a switch and that'll change the direction of the trolley car and it'll kill 1 person instead of 5. And so the question that you pose to usually a human is, do you flip that switch? So I came across the trolley car problem in my theology studies, 10 years ago, before AI was even a thing in our industry. And what was fascinating is if you rephrase the question and you say to the person, instead of flipping a switch, you need to push a person onto the tracks, the percentage of people who will do that dramatically decreases. So an overwhelming number of people will flip a switch. A very small percentage will actually push a person, even though the moral calculus is the same. Now, in AI, we ask the question, if an autonomous vehicle it has the situation in front of it, it must kill 5 children or kill an elderly person. First of all, what does it do? And second of all, who decides what it does? So it's a great way to take this hypothetical contrived situation, but surface the complexity of getting AI to behave ethically.
How are AI developers approaching these ethical dilemmas? Is there a general consensus on a standard approach within the industry, or are AI players handling these dilemmas using their own strategies?
Yeah, so there's no one coherent strategy, which is part of the challenge. And it'll also change depending on the culture and the geography where you ask the question. So what's interesting is if you ask this question in the Far East, they want to save the older person because they have a culture where the respect for the elderly is very prominent. You ask the question in North America, and the overriding consensus is, "You've had your life; it's my turn. I'm the millennial that's ready, for the next 50 years of his or her life." So engineers really don't have a framework with which to codify, their decisions around this. And moreover, they've done studies where they've shown even when a company says this is the ethical framework you should follow, it rarely has an appreciable influence on how they program it. I believe the ACM came up with a study around it. So the overriding consensus is that this is a decision that cannot be made purely by engineers. You need policymakers at the table, ethicists, government officials, but there's no one standard body that is prescribing that. And so there is a lot of work in our industry to try to address this. There's a group called Partnership on AI, or PAI for short, based in the Valley with a lot of big tech behind it. Our chief scientist is on one of the boards there. So there are movements towards this, but we still have to come up with some concerted way in which we, make ethical demands on these AI systems.
So, what is the future for ethics in AI then?
It will mirror the power of AI, right? So right now we can say things like, under these specific circumstances, this is what AI should do, and even that's a very hard problem. But what do you do when an AI is faced with a scenario that it just simply doesn't understand? There's a video I often show when I teach ethical AI, and it's a video from a German study called Altruism in Children. And so there will be a small child, usually a toddler, sitting with his mother, and an individual will go up and try to put books into a bookcase. But because they're holding all these books, they can't, open the bookcase. And so they'll repeatedly bump up against the bookshelf. And I think 7 out of 10 toddlers was the statistic, will see what they're doing and will walk over and open the shelf. And so it tests the scenario where this child has never encountered this particular scenario, adult walking up against the bookshelf, but they will somehow figure out how to do this. So the question is, how do we teach AI to respond in a scenario like that, to understand the ethical dilemma of a situation that has been programmed for? And there's a lot of ideas on how to make this happen. There's reinforcement learning, which is, you explore a space and you understand what to do, but that has challenges with it. So there is a lot of research in this area, and it'll need to mirror the power of AI, because as AI gets increasingly sophisticated, the argument is that the ethics behind it need to be similarly sophisticated as well.
Sheldon Fernandez, CEO of DarwinAI. If somebody wants to connect with you, Sheldon, maybe they want to find out more about your work, how can they do that?
Yeah, they can go to our website, DarwinAI.com. They can look me up on LinkedIn, or they can even email me at sheldon@darwinai.ca.
Thanks again, Sheldon. And find more of my interviews right here, or go to tonyahall.net. Thanks for watching.